Welcome to the Knakal News Network. The Knakal News Network is brought to you by Massey Knakal Realty Services, New York's #1 building sales firm.
Hi, I'm John Hageman, Sales Team Manager for Massey Knakal. Welcome to the Knakal News Network. Today I'm here with Bob Knakal, Chairman of Massey Knakal, and we're here to talk about investor appetite in the market. So Bob, it seems today like everyone wants to own a piece of the Big Apple. Tell us who the buyers are that we've seen in the market today.
Well, there are several different groups of buyers that are very, very active today. And I think to fully understand what's happening today, we need to look back a little bit at recent history and back to the 2005 to 2007 period where that institutional capital that came into the market really inflated the asset bubble. Clearly, there weren't enough properties available to satiate that demand, so that capital started looking in the outer boroughs. Drove prices up in northern Manhattan, the Bronx, all over the outer boroughs. And effectively, it was very difficult for high net worth individuals and the New York families to compete with that capital at the time. When we started to hit the credit crisis in late 2007, we saw that institutional capital effectively evaporate from the marketplace. And most of the transactions that we were doing, if you remember back in 08 and 09, were with high net worth individuals and New York families. Then we started to see the institutional capital reemerge after a couple of years of being idle. And then we also started to see foreign capital start to come into the market in very, very strong waves. And foreign capital coming in, as you know, is just incredible. I think we've sold property over the last 2.5 years. We've sold properties to investors from 50 different countries. So we see all of this demand occurring at a time when there is very, very little for sale, which is exerting even more pressure on prices.
And has there been interest from any one country or two countries more than another, or has it been spread fairly equally across those 50 different countries?
Well, the majority of the investors that we've seen coming in have been from China. In addition to Canadians and Mexicans, which have always been very prominent investors here because they're our main trading partners. But the amount of capital that is looking for buildings today in the city is remarkable.
And Bob, what are these buyers looking for particularly?
Well, I think today it depends on who those buyers are. I think we see a lot of institutional investors that are more of the life company type buyers that are just looking for stable cash flow, even though their yields are very, very low. And then there are the foreign buyers that today are looking for asset preservation more than yield. And then you have the investors that are looking for yield and have to have yield. And increasingly we're seeing those folks look to the outer boroughs to try to find that yield, or to the development market, which has more risk involved, but it's the old risk-return trade-off.
And do you think that's one of the reasons that's fueling part of the run-up that we've seen in this year, especially in the land market?
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, with more people looking for yield, there are more buyers looking at land, and that certainly is driving prices up. And Hags, as you know, today, more than ever before, we're telling potential sellers that it's likely, probably better than 50-50 chance, that the buyer is going to be a first-time buyer. It must be 15 or 20 new buyers every week are being added to our database, and those folks are coming in and they're paying very big prices to get their first New York property. In summary, there are several different groups of buyers that are very active today. High net worth individuals, New York families, foreign investors, and institutional capital are all looking to buy properties in New York City. Some are looking for return, while others are simply looking for asset preservation. Given the current state of supply-demand imbalance, we expect these conditions to continue for the foreseeable future.
Thank you for joining us today. Tune in next week for another installment on the Knakal News Network.